I was mopping vomit off the ER floor when she sent a selfie from a client meeting, champagne, leather seats, his Rolex on the gear stick. My cheating wife thought I wouldn't notice. Thought I'd just keep cleaning up after her. But that night, I stopped mopping and started watching. The smell of hospital-grade bleach has a way of clinging to your skin. At 10:47 p.m., I was pushing a mop across the trauma bay tiles, half-dried blood crusted near the drains, when Sierra texted, still at the client dinner. Might be late. Client dinner. Right. In a backless dress, red as a fresh incision. I remembered how she twirled in it before leaving, asked if it looked too much. I said it did. She wore it anyway. That's Sierra, always a little more for someone else. I stared at the message until the screen dimmed. Then I kept mopping. I'd been with Sierra for 8 years. Married for 6. No kids, thank God. We met when she was a showroom assistant for a Lexus dealership and I came in looking for a used Tacoma. She flirted, I bought. Not the truck, her story. Ambition, charm, vulnerability. All carefully packaged. She moved in within 3 months. Said I made her feel safe. Said no one ever saw her the way I did. But here's what she didn't say: security gets boring fast. I never had the schedule of a normal husband. 12-hour night shifts, back-to-back trauma cases, holidays in blood-soaked scrubs. It wears on you. I thought I was doing it for us, for the house we bought, the savings account, the future. She let me believe that. Until last month. I was in the break room eating a cold sandwich when one of the new paramedics, Sean, mentioned he'd seen my wife. She's got a black Benz, right? He asked casually. Saw her in it outside that new place on 8th. Some guy had his hand on her leg while she parked. Thought maybe it wasn't her, she looked different, dressed up. I laughed it off. Said she had a lot of clients. Said she was good at her job. That night, she came home at 1:12 a.m. Said the dinner ran long, the deal was big, and she had to be on. I nodded. Watched her peel off her lashes in the mirror. She didn't even look at me when she said, "You trust me, right?" I didn't answer. I just watched her. Watched how easily she slipped out of the lie. Since then, I'd been quiet. Not out of fear, out of calculation. I wanted to know who, when, how often. And most importantly, what she thought I'd do once I found out. Tonight wasn't about rage. It was about precision. After my shift ended, I didn't go home. I went to the parking garage behind the Westin Hotel. Level 4B. That's where I'd seen her Mercedes parked 3 times this month, always Thursday nights. I waited with the engine off, headlights dimmed, my phone in my lap. At 11:18, she came out. He followed 2 steps behind. Athletic build. Tan coat. Confident gait. He reached for the door handle, her door, and opened it like they'd done this 100 times. They sat there for a moment before the engine started. I didn't move. Just watched. Her silhouette leaned toward him, hand moving low. A second later, the cabin light flared, just long enough to see her head drop between the seats. I didn't flinch. I watched until the light went out again. Then I looked down at my gloves. Still smelled like bleach. And that was the moment something shifted in me, not rage, not sadness. Just a switch. Quiet. Cold. Final. Tomorrow, I'd start the real cleanup. Not floors. Her. The next morning, she made coffee like nothing had happened. Hazelnut creamer. Almond milk. The same glass mug she always used. She stirred it 3 times, staring into the swirl like it held some kind of answer. "Did you sleep?" she asked without turning around. "I worked." She nodded. "I figured. You're quiet." I watched her. Her robe was slightly misaligned. Lip gloss smudged at the corner. No perfume today. That was always the tell, when she didn't want me to notice she'd been touched. She sat across from me at the table, scrolling her phone, screen tilted away. Her thumb moved slow, deliberate. I imagined his name was still fresh in the notifications, maybe a thank you, maybe a photo, maybe just another gear stick emoji. You want eggs? She asked. No. Toast. I didn't answer. I just looked at her hands. No ring. She hadn't worn it in weeks. Said it felt tight. Strange, it fit just fine when she wrapped it around a champagne flute in Cabo last year. She eventually left for the lot. Some out-of-town buyer was coming to test drive a new BMW 8 Series. Said it would take most of the afternoon. Said I shouldn't wait up. I didn't plan to. Instead, I called in a favor. Marcus Delaney owed me one. Ex-cop. Now private security consultant. I stitched him up a few years back after he caught a broken bottle to the throat in a bar fight. No questions asked, no bill. He said if I ever needed anything, just call. I told him I needed a tracker installed. Her car. Discreet. Fast. He didn't ask why. He just said, where and when. By 3 p.m., the job was done. I spent the evening organizing files. Not hers, mine. Pay stubs. Credit card records. Insurance policies. Every document that tied our names together. I scanned, backed up, and time-stamped everything. Made copies. She came home smelling like expensive leather and cold air. Tossed her bag on the couch and kicked off her heels like she was exhausted from earning. How was your day? She asked. Productive. She smiled. Good. You've been off lately. I thought maybe. I don't know. She trailed off. That was her move, dangle a half sentence, let me fill in the rest. I didn't bite. We watched a movie. Some mindless action flick she pretended to like. Halfway through, she got a text and went to the bathroom. Stayed there 10 minutes. When she came back, her eyes were glassy. Said it was allergies. Sure. The next few days passed like normal, which is to say, they passed like lies. She laughed a little too loud. Touched me just enough to avoid suspicion. Played the part of a woman still in love. But I could feel the vacancy in her gestures. They weren't for me. Friday came fast. This time, she didn't lie. Clients in town again. We're doing a late dinner. Might stay over if it runs too late. That was new, the honesty, or what passed for it. Okay, I said. Text me if you need anything. She looked relieved. Like she'd finally trained me. When she left, I didn't follow. I waited. Tracked the signal. Watched her stop for wine. Saw her car parked behind the Marriott. Room 514. Same as last time. I didn't go to the hotel. Not yet. Instead, I went home and opened the laptop. Logged into our cloud account, the one she forgot I set up. All photos automatically uploaded. 12 new ones. Dinner. His hand on her thigh. Her shoes off in the hotel hallway. And one she must have meant to delete, her in the mirror, tongue out, holding his belt. I saved every file. Then I created a new folder. Named it, Sierra, Exit Plan. Saturday morning, she brought me coffee in bed. That alone was suspicious. Sierra doesn't do mornings unless they're for someone else. She sat on the edge of the mattress like we were still something, like I hadn't watched her kneel on carpet I didn't recognize 12 hours earlier. Thought you might need this, she said, smiling soft. Thanks. She watched me sip it. Waited. Testing for something. Guilt always wants confirmation it's still hidden. I asked, late night. She shrugged. We closed the deal. Client's flying back tomorrow. That was her new word for him, client. Like renaming a wolf makes it less hungry. You stay over? I asked. She nodded, then looked down. I figured it was easier. I had some wine, didn't want to drive. I get it. I didn't press. I wanted her to feel safe, for now. A cornered snake lashes out. I needed her slithering freely, unaware the cage was already built. Later, while she was in the shower, I checked her purse. Nothing obvious. Lip gloss, charger, receipts, and a keycard for room 514. Slipped behind a stack of dealership business cards like camouflage. She kept it. That detail sat in my chest like ice. After she left for errands, I scanned the living room. Small signs, couch pillows arranged differently, a faint cologne that wasn't mine, a single water bottle near the edge of the coffee table. She'd brought him here once. Maybe more. That's what the water meant, casual comfort. Not secrecy. Territory. I didn't confront her. I copied the keycard. Placed it back exactly as it was. That evening, I tested her again. While we watched a show, I asked, "You ever think about switching jobs? You work so much lately." She paused. "You think I'm not around enough?" "No. Just seems like your dealership takes a lot out of you." She smiled. "I'm good at what I do." "You are." Flattery. Not agreement. "I just worry," I added. "Late nights. Hotels. It can start to feel like a different life." She turned slowly toward me. "What's that supposed to mean?" And there it was. The sharp edge. I kept my voice even. "It means I don't want to lose you to it." Her expression softened. "You're not losing me. Don't be dramatic." Deflection. Subtle guilt flip. She leaned over and kissed my cheek, a gesture meant to erase questions. But I wasn't asking. I was archiving. Later that night, she left her phone face down on the counter. The screen lit up once, a name I didn't recognize, Gavin B. New character. Same pattern. I didn't open it. I didn't need to. I mirrored her iCloud 2 days ago. Every message she sends, I get, 5 minutes delayed. I watched the preview roll in. Gavin B. Could still feel your lipstick when I got home. Might have to come back for round 2 smiling face with horns. Sierra responded 2 minutes later. Sierra, you're trouble. Good thing I like trouble. Then she walked back in and asked if I wanted tea. I looked at her. Let the silence sit between us like fog. Sure, I said. She went to the kitchen, humming something she hadn't sung in years. Upstairs, I opened the hidden folder. She was unraveling herself. I was just taking notes. By midweek, Sierra started acting more affectionate. Little touches. Random compliments. She brought home my favorite pastries from the bakery I didn't think she even remembered. Felt like you deserved something sweet, she said. I just nodded. She was trying to rebalance the scales. Guilt made her generous. But the mask was slipping at the edges. Thursday night, she changed in the hallway mirror. Tight navy dress. Gold necklace I hadn't seen before. She kept adjusting her lipstick in small, sharp motions. Big night? I asked, leaning in the doorway. She smiled. Client's husband is coming too. I have to look impressive. Does he know you impress people horizontally? She froze. Just for half a second. Then laughed. You're in a mood. I'm tired. Don't be jealous. I'm working. And just like that, she twisted it. I was the one with the issue. She kissed my cheek before leaving. Cold lips. No linger. Just habit. After the door closed, I walked upstairs. Logged into her synced messages. Watched the texts roll in. Gavin B., leaving now. That dress better be illegal. Sierra, only if you break the speed limit, winking face. They were meeting again, this time at a restaurant uptown. I had the location from her location history. She'd forgotten her permissions were still active. At 8:10 p.m., I parked across the street. Watched through tinted glass. They sat by the window, her hand already on his wrist like she owned it. He leaned in close. Smiled too much. Every inch of him screamed disposable money. Designer watch. Shoes that had never touched grass. I took photos. Not because I needed more proof. Because I wanted her to see herself from the outside. At 9:42, they left. I tailed from 3 blocks back. They stopped once, to kiss against a wall like teenagers. Her hands in his coat. I took more photos. He drove. She climbed into the passenger seat like she'd done it 100 times. Her laugh echoed faintly as they sped off. They didn't go to the Marriott. This time it was the Intercontinental. Classier. More secluded. I didn't follow them inside. I didn't need to. Instead, I went home and logged into the secondary email I'd created. Attached 6 photos. Subject line, your wife. My problem. I didn't hit send, not yet. I stared at the screen. Then I opened the spreadsheet I'd been building. Dates. Times. Messages. Photos. Patterns. Each row was a betrayal. Each cell a receipt. The spreadsheet didn't lie. She was seeing him every Thursday. She met others on Saturdays, rotated depending on who was available. Gavin wasn't the only one. Just the boldest. Friday morning, I made breakfast. Eggs, toast, her favorite green smoothie. Said it out like nothing was different. She looked surprised. What's all this? Just wanted to do something for you. Her smile faltered. Guilt again. She knew what she'd done. But not what I'd seen. She ate slow. Thanked me twice. Told me I was being sweet lately. I watched her chew. Watched her thank the men she was betraying in real time. This was no longer a marriage. It was surveillance. And she had no idea she'd already lost. By now, I knew her patterns better than she did. Tuesdays were for recovery. She came home early, stayed quiet, often ordered takeout. Thursdays were his. Saturdays were someone else's, still working on that. I didn't guess anymore. I documented. Wednesday, while she was at work, I had a locksmith friend let me into her car. I could have done it myself, but I wanted no fingerprints, just access. Inside her glove box was a receipt folder. She always bragged about being organized. It held a stack of itemized bills. Restaurants, wine bars, hotel parking slips. Some signed GB in her handwriting. Gavin B. I copied everything. Scanned it. Resealed the envelope and put it back exactly as I found it. That night, she came home talking fast. They're transferring Gavin to the Dallas branch. I might be helping close a few big deals this quarter before he goes. Gavin. She froze. I mentioned him before. One of the clients. I nodded. Right. The one who texts you after midnight. She blinked, then smiled. You're being dramatic again. Always dramatic. Always suspicious. She played her role like she rehearsed it in front of the mirror every morning. But her smile didn't reach her eyes anymore. Later that night, while she showered, I synced her smartwatch to a second device. Every heartbeat spike, every step, I'd see it. The last time she saw Gavin, her heart rate hit 131 BPM and stayed there for 43 minutes. She said they were discussing pricing models. Sure. I had enough now, not to accuse. To dismantle. I started assembling the binders. One physical, one digital. Titled both, Dissolution, Sierra Q. They included message transcripts, time-stamped. Photos with metadata. Location logs. Hotel receipts with her signature. Sync logs from iCloud and smartwatch. A full list of overlapping alibis versus actual movements. I wasn't just collecting evidence. I was writing the narrative of her fall, clean, traceable, impossible to deny. I even pulled our prenup. We signed it at a friend's urging, back when love still felt permanent. Infidelity nullified her claim on spousal support. Clause 14b. I highlighted it. Made copies. The next day, I scheduled an appointment with my lawyer. Presented everything. He said, "You want to file now?" I shook my head. Not yet. I want her to walk herself into the flames first. You've got enough here to destroy her, he said. That's not the goal, I replied. The goal is for her to realize she lit the match. That weekend, she went to a conference in Jersey. I watched her location settle at a luxury Airbnb in Hoboken. Gavin's name popped up 3 times that night. Calls. Messages. A shared playlist called Us. I made a mental note to find out who else was in that playlist. Sunday, she came home with a tan and a new bracelet. She said the dealership gave it to her as a bonus. I deserve it, don't I? She asked. You really do, I said. And she smiled like she'd fooled me again. But that night, while she slept, I uploaded everything to a secure drive. Gave it one name. Phase 1, done. By the second week of April, Gavin's face was burned into my brain, even though I'd never spoken a word to him. I knew his gait, his car, his laugh. I'd listened to a voicemail where he called Sierra his escape. Said she was the only thing that felt real. He said it like a man who'd never paid for a consequence in his life. Thursday night, I followed her again. She lied straight to my face before leaving. Late meeting at the regional office, she said, slipping into that fitted tan coat she only wore for him. Don't wait up. I didn't even look up from my laptop. Wasn't planning to. Her eyes flickered. She wanted me to protest. To care. I didn't give her that. She left. At 8:23 p.m., her car stopped at the Birch and Bow Inn, boutique, remote, upscale. A place you book when you want privacy without suspicion. I parked a quarter mile out and walked the perimeter. Room 17 had the lights on. Shades open. Just enough visibility through the sheer curtains to see her, legs curled up, wine glass in hand. Gavin came out of the bathroom in a towel. Kissed her neck. She leaned back like she belonged there. I took the video. 42 seconds of pure confirmation. Back home, I uploaded it to the shared drive. It auto-tagged, April_11_GB_SQ_Birchin.mp4. That was the final nail. Friday morning, I sat across from her at the breakfast table. You ever wonder how people justify cheating? I asked. She blinked. What? I sipped my coffee. People who step out. You think it's impulse? Or just habit? She looked at me for a second too long. Why are you asking me that? I smiled. Curiosity. Sounds like judgment. Not at all. I stood. Just thinking about how fast people ruin things they said they'd protect. Her lips parted like she wanted to say something, deny, redirect, cry maybe. But nothing came out. Guilt doesn't need a microphone. I walked away. That afternoon, I met with my lawyer again. Dropped the full binder on his desk. Now, he asked. Now. He filed the paperwork that evening. Grounds, adultery. Evidence, indisputable. Sierra didn't know yet. That would come soon, on my terms. At midnight, I sat in the dark and listened to their playlist. Our Escape, In the Mood, Electric Nights. I added one track to the list. Johnny Cash, God's Gonna Cut You Down. I knew she'd see it. At 12:14 a.m., her heart rate spiked to 127 BPM. I went to bed smiling. Saturday morning, she acted like nothing was off. Made breakfast. Wore the soft hoodie I'd bought her for our second anniversary. Told me she was thinking about maybe planning a getaway for the two of us, said we'd been distant lately. I nodded. Let her believe the room was still stable. At 11:06 a.m., her phone buzzed. I watched her glance at it, hesitate, then flip it over. She never used to do that. Not when she had nothing to hide. She looked up and asked, "Do you still want this?" Want what? Us. She asked it like she was offering a used car. I said, "You tell me." She swallowed hard. I think we've both made mistakes. That word, both, was the first crack in her defense. She was laying down smoke before the fire even hit. I didn't respond. I stood, grabbed my keys. Where are you going? Errands. But what I really did was drive downtown. The dealership she worked at had a showroom event, big monthly push, music, food, open invites. The regional director was there. Her manager. Clients. Friends. I walked in calm. Suit. Folder in hand. Sierra saw me from across the showroom. Smiled, but it flickered fast. She wasn't expecting me, which was exactly the point. Jason, she said, stepping away from a couple. What's going on? I handed her the envelope. Just one line on the front, for Sierra. Read now. Her fingers shook slightly as she opened it. Inside were printed screenshots, messages, photos, GPS logs. The full index. Nothing vulgar. Nothing tabloid-worthy. Just surgical truth. She didn't even finish the stack. Her lips parted. She looked around, checked to see who was watching. Then she whispered, "Why are you doing this here?" "Because you never imagined someone could hurt you the way you hurt them." I stepped back. Gave her space. Let her feel the walls close in. Behind her, Gavin appeared. Like he'd felt a shift in the atmosphere. He looked at me, then at her. "Is something wrong?" I smiled. "Not yet." Then handed him his own envelope. His was thinner, just one photo. Him, half-dressed, kissing Sierra in the hotel hallway. Time-stamped. He paled. Sierra said nothing. Her hand gripped his wrist like an anchor. I turned and walked out. By the time I reached the car, her location was already moving. Fast. Probably the bathroom. Maybe the parking lot. Maybe just looking for breath. I didn't care. Back home, I unlocked the storage drive. Moved the folder from phase 1 to phase 2. She'd lost the narrative. Now came the real collapse. A week after she left, the house felt bigger. Not emptier. Bigger. Like it had been holding its breath for too long and finally exhaled. The silence wasn't hollow, it was earned. No more half-worn perfume on pillowcases. No more wine glasses left half-full on countertops after 1 a.m. No more lies told casually over eggs. I replaced the locks that weekend. Not because I thought she'd come back. Just because I wanted the last trace of her gone, the access. Her name came off the utilities. Off the lease. Out of the joint accounts. The bank teller asked, "You sure you want to remove her entirely?" I just nodded. Finality doesn't need permission. Gavin never showed his face again. The dealership quietly let Sierra go a week later. Restructuring, they said. But we both knew. Word travels fast in sales, faster in scandal. Her Instagram went dark. Her friends stopped calling. She tried texting once, a photo of us from some vacation years ago. Said, "Remember this? We were good once." I didn't respond. Because we weren't. Not really. We were a stage. A well-lit version of nothing real. The therapist I saw for 3 sessions said closure is a myth, that you don't move on, you move through. I don't know if that's true. But I do know this, I don't think about Sierra anymore. Not in the way that matters. If I pass someone with her perfume in a grocery store, I just keep walking. If I see a car like hers in traffic, I don't flinch. And if someone mentions love, I don't laugh. I just listen. Because I've learned something, betrayal doesn't break you. It clears you. Strips away the rot, leaves only the structure. And once you see it, once you finally stop cleaning up someone else's mess, you realize, you were never broken. Just buried. She didn't come home that night. Didn't text. Didn't call. At 1:12 a.m., her location still pinged downtown, some boutique hotel I didn't recognize. I didn't follow. I didn't care. That wasn't the point anymore. The next morning, a message popped up from her, "Can we talk? Please." I didn't reply. At noon, my lawyer served her at the dealership. In front of the same glass doors where she used to brag about closing deals face to face. The envelope was thick. Divorce filing. Infidelity clause invoked. Financial disclosures attached. A pre-assembled agreement, I keep the house, savings untouched. She walks away clean, no claim, no fight, no settlement. Attached to the last page was a post-it note I'd handwritten, You already took everything worth keeping. She called me 8 times in a row. I let it ring. Then came the email. Long, rambling. Full of half-truths and revisionist guilt. She said Gavin meant nothing. That things just got out of hand. That she never wanted to hurt me. I responded with one sentence, sign it by Monday, or I go public. She signed it within 2 hours. Gavin, on the other hand, didn't go down as clean. His wife messaged me the next day. She'd gotten the forwarded folder, every receipt, every photo, every timestamp. She didn't thank me. Just said, I've suspected for months. Now I know. He'll be out by the weekend. I deleted her message. That wasn't my war. At 7:14 p.m., Gavin texted me from a burner number, you didn't have to destroy me. I didn't respond. Because I didn't destroy him. He destroyed himself. I just held up the mirror. Sierra moved out 3 days later. She didn't cry. Didn't scream. Just packed in silence. She tried one last time, just as she closed the front door. I did love you, Jason. I didn't look up. Yeah. You just loved you more. And then the door clicked shut. She was gone. No final speech. No big crescendo. Just the sound of her keys dropping on the counter one last time. I poured a drink. Sat on the couch. Watched the evening settle in. The house was quiet. Finally.